So Kanye, what the hell, man? What the hell are you doing, man? Kanye West, or Ye, as he goes by now, this dude is all over the place, right? Like sometimes I feel like I need to be in a position to defend him because I think that like people might take what he's saying out of context, or they might not try to like truly think about what it is that he's saying. And then other times I'm like, damn, man, like, why did you have to say that, or at least say it like that, right? Now, I salute anybody, right, who fights the power and who look in the face of cancellation or censorship and basically say F you and, kind of go along with it. Now, the issue with that, and I've stated this before, is that if you are banned or if you are cut off from all of these platforms or companies, well, it is hard to get your voice out there. So if some of the stuff that you're saying, or a lot of it, actually has merit, well, it's no longer accessible, right? So people, won't be able to connect with you like they previously would have. So you have to walk a fine line, especially today, right? Like you have to play the game, unfortunately, but it's only that way because those who are in favor of cancellation or censorship, or who run the world, they outnumber, right, the people who are like, F that. I want to be able to say what I want. Even if you don't agree with it, I still should be able to do that, right? So, like I said, I salute those people. Obviously, I'm a person with common sense. So if you say something that is objectively asinine and crazy, right, I won't support it. I will judge it on a case-by-case basis, is what I will say, right? Is I assess it based on individual situations, but I'm not going to categorize someone who says something a bit edgy as some type of phobia or ism or anything like that. And got to be canceled and banned and whatever. But this dude, Ye, he is like on a kind of a mean streak right now. I don't know like what the hell is going on, right? But like he is going on all these podcasts going ham. Now, like I said, I respect the freedom that he has now, right? That's one thing that he has now that the vast majority of us don't have, right? And when I say us, I just mean people, right? Citizens, your everyday person. We don't have the freedom that he has, in the sense that he has so much money that he literally doesn't have to do a single ounce of work for the rest of his life, and he'll be straight. And he's no longer in bed with Balenciaga and Adidas and The Gap. I don't even think he's under a label. I could be mistaken, but like he's just free to go wherever people will have him and say whatever he wants, express himself however he wants. He can sell these premium clothes for $20 a pop, which he's been doing, which though that's fantastic, right? The reason so many people hate on him is because they crave that type of freedom, right? And a lot of it, in my opinion, is a form of envy, right? Where he has gone from podcast to podcast, because there will always be someone who wants to have him. There will always be a company who says, you know what, screw censorship, I'm going to challenge, right, what's going on right now. And they might start off small, obviously, but the more that people get fed up with it too, well, then these platforms will grow. But once again, as a public figure, especially someone like him who wants to run for president, you have to toe the line. And that's something that I feel like he's not doing right now. I don't know if he's just not good at it, or if he's just choosing not to because he's saying, to hell with everything. I just want to say whatever it is that I want to say. But this man, Ye, went on Alex Jones. Now, if you know anything about Alex Jones...
Listen, you son of a bitch. What the f***'s your problem? You get in my face with that, I'll beat your ass, you son of a you piece of you Listen, you fucking crossed the line.
Well, you probably can get a sense of what the interview was like, how it went. But I've never seen Alex Jones be uncomfortable before. I've never seen Alex Jones be nervous. Like, I'm pretty sure in his head he was like, man, do I even want to post this on my platform? And my platform is my own, so that I don't get canceled anymore. Do I even want to post this, right? Do I want to air this? So when I see a interview in which Alex Jones is uncomfortable, I'm like, he probably says something that was real wild, right? So I'm gonna play it, right? I've done my homework, right? I didn't want to play it because I didn't know if it was gonna get taken down or not, but I've seen it, right? I've seen it surface on the internet, so I feel like I'm safe to do so, right? But we'll see how this goes. This is what Ye had to say on Alex Jones's podcast.
You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you can love, us, and you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts, and you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician, you can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
Oh, man. Well, I have to disagree with that.
So there's like a couple things that I have to break down for this, right? To kind of like lay the foundation for how I view this and how I felt like this whole thing went, right? So Kanye West is a Christian, right? He has a Bible right there. He's expressed it. We can only go off of his word and his actions, right? So he is a man of faith, and in being one myself, I understand where he is coming from. And this is where people were pissed off, right? They felt like he's like hiding behind his religion, or he's not, I guess, utilizing it properly. But technically he is, and let me explain. And this is where I feel like he failed, but I'll get to that in a second, right? Jesus taught us to love everyone, right? Not necessarily to love their actions or what it is that they do or have done, but to just love them as human beings, right? Because if you think about it, something like the Holocaust happening or any other catastrophe that was carried out by a human being, 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, it was done out of a place of hate. So when one person or group rises up who's filled with hate and they carry out hateful acts, our response as human beings is to combat them with more hate. Therefore, it is just this hate-filled world, and essentially the fire is being fought with more fire. Therefore, it rises. The fire rises, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And think about this. We, objectively, are the most intelligent and most conscious being on this planet. There's no one else. So all of the bad shit that's happening in the world is our fault. We want to blame X, Y, and Z, right? We want to look to find answers to see why all these bad things are happening. Well, look no further than the mirror, right? There's one right here. There's probably one close by. We're all at fault because we're the only ones here who are capable of such mass destruction, right? In any form, right? Other than natural elements, all of the bad stuff that happens is because of us. So fighting hate with hate, it doesn't make sense, and our track record for doing that isn't very good. So in terms of loving everyone, that's not saying, hey, I love you, therefore I love everything that you have ever done. It is, I love you as a human being, and maybe if someone showed you a bit of love, you would either turn from your ways or maybe you wouldn't have done it in the first place. Now, that doesn't excuse them from doing whatever heinous act that they did, but it is worth mentioning that, hey, a lot of people do hateful things. I mean, just get this. They do it out of hate. So if they are combated with more hate, then that's just going to fuel them even more. Therefore, it is just this chain reaction and this snowball effect that continues to happen. So what he's saying here, at least what I got from it, is that, right? Is that he loves Hitler.
Whew, I think I stepped in something.
Just saying it out loud feels weird, right? But it sounds like he's saying he loves the person and saying that there's like good in everyone, right? All people bring something good to the table. Objectively, he's not lying as well, right? Like, I would be very, very careful to assume that like someone on this planet, regardless of any bad that they have done, hasn't ever done anything good or substantial, right? Or beneficial for either people close by to them or the world, period. Right? So him saying that, objectively, he's not wrong as well. But like I said, this is where Ye fails, in my opinion, is explaining this and also elaborating on points that people might be skeptical of, right? Like saying, hey, he loves Hitler, but he also then goes on to explain that, but I don't support what he did in terms of the Holocaust, right? I think that was absolutely horrible. It might be a good idea to mention that, right? Because people are going to assume that that's what you're saying, is that you love Hitler because of what he did, right? Or that you love Hitler and that you could care less about what he did. Because any good thing that Hitler has done, like, we as humans are in no position to judge anybody, because at the end of the day, we're all capable of being somebody like Hitler. We're all capable of doing harm to other people. If you just choose not to, that's fantastic. But that doesn't ascend you to any astronomical heights of a moral high ground over someone else, simply because you still have the capability to do those things. But when you are assessing a person and you're saying, hey, like the good that they did and then the bad that they did, let's compare them and see, which one was a little bit stronger. That is the part that I feel like was missing, right? And then it opens the door for people to say, well, he's just off his meds or he's crazy. And that's problematic if you want to run for president, right? Anything that you say, people are going to think that you're crazy. Like him saying that slavery was a choice. Now, if you just say that, just flat out, right? People are going to be like, especially black people, they're going to get, real animated, as the guy did at TMZ. They're going to get pissed off. They're going to think that you're crazy and you're off your meds. But if you explain it, then there might be some merit there. And then if you denounce any of the objective atrocities, right, as well, now you got something, right? If you say slavery is a choice, but initially when black people were sold into slavery, right, that was horrible. But slavery went on for so long, right? And in a way, at least modern day slavery, in my opinion, in America is mentally and economically, you could say that that's a choice, right? We choose to economically enslave ourselves to these corporations and to people that, black people as a whole can't stand, right? Black people, a lot of them don't like white people. Now, I think that that's wrong. I think that hating people based on their skin color is racist. But there are people who run corporations, and I'm not going to classify anybody because, obviously you can see how that went with him. But there are people who run corporations who look a certain way, who create designer products and all of these cool things for us to purchase. Black people are among the top consumers in America, collectively spending about $1 trillion a year on goods and services. A lot of that goes to these corporations. We are their number one customer. So that's kind of a choice. Yes, it might be perpetrated through socioeconomic issues in history, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, we can choose to stop buying this crap and invest our money into property and other ventures, right? We can choose to love white people and Asian people and Hispanic people simply because they are people and not looking at them based on their race, because we hate when people do that to us. Like I said, we can choose all these things, but he never explained that, and that's the problem, right? So when something like this happens, it is very difficult to defend him, because if you defend him, well, it looks like you're just going to defend this man regardless of what he says, right? Anything that he says, you're going to defend him. But at the exact same time, it's like you just want people to think deeper, because there is something deeper in what he's saying. Even if he's not necessarily articulating it the best, it is there. Yes, you are supposed to love everyone, right? What good does it do you to hate other people? Obviously not good enough. It is horrible because these things happen. Slavery, the Holocaust, freaking oppressive regimes and governments who are filled with hate and greed and lust and all these bad things, the way that they operate, they do it as a result of those things. Therefore, they treat people horribly. So, what good has hate done us, right? So, in expressing that, I feel like you could win a lot of people over. Not everyone, because there are people out there who will continue to hate. I'm not, like I said, sure how that makes them feel good. I feel like that would be a miserable life. But you can't save everyone. You can't get through to everyone. You can just put it out there and hope that one day that they come around. That, hey, maybe try love, right? I know that sounds corny, but let's just give it a try. We don't have the best track record with what we're used to, so maybe let's switch it up, right? But he didn't explain that, and that's the issue. He's saying he wants to run for president. You got to be able to connect with people, and you got to be able to understand the time that we live in, where it's a much more sensitive world. Everything is under a microscope. You got to be willing to see life from that perspective now. That, hey, even though I might have grown up in an era in which you could really say not just anything that you wanted, but you could say more back then than you can now and not be scrutinized for it, because if someone just didn't like your opinion, they would just not listen to you, right? But now people don't like your opinion and they say, you got to get canceled or you need to be banned, instead of just blocking them. Like that is so weird to me. Just block him. Just block him. Don't watch him. But that's not how we operate anymore. But you have to understand that, right? That doesn't mean you got to completely give up your morals or your values or your points of view, but you just have to recalibrate. right? You have to, because the way that the world is going now, the people who subscribe to the new world order, so to speak, they outnumber anyone else, right? Who doesn't? So, but at the end of the day, those are still people, right? And you have to love them, and you got to be able to try your best to connect with them. You have to, especially if you want to run for freaking president, right? But what I found funny about this whole thing was basically how many hypocrites that he basically exposed, that Ye basically is exposed by saying this, right? He says he loves Hitler, and all these people are pissed off, right? Everyone's mad. They're calling him anti-Semitic, saying he's off his meds, all of these things, right? He even talked about how he loves Nazis, right? So everyone's pissed. They're all mad at Ye for saying this, yet there are so many companies who have either been founded or collaborated on by Nazis and or Hitler, i.e. Hugo Boss. I.e. if you drive a Volkswagen and you're pissed off at Ye for saying what he said, please go trade in your car now. If you drive a BMW, I would advise you to do the exact same thing. If you drink Fanta, please pour it out, take the case, the 12-pack, the 24-pack that's in your kitchen, and throw it into the freaking ocean. Get rid of it, because that's how much you hate who he says that he loves, right? If you're old school and you take pictures with a Kodak camera, or maybe they make some high-end new ones, destroy it. Take a baseball bat and beat the dog shit out of that camera, because no, that's not acceptable. Any company that was founded by Nazis and or collaborated with by Nazis and or Hitler, do away with, right? Stand on it, right? That's what I say to people who hate America so much, is that this is not a perfect country by any stretch of the imagination. But if you express how much you hate this country, the fact that you still live here is beyond me. The fact that you still use American money is beyond me. You talk about how this land was stolen and we boycott the 4th of July. Well, why do you live in a house that is in America, right? Regardless of the history of this country, it's still a sovereign country now that has been deemed America, and it has American rules and values, right? But you hate the country so much, yet you still continue to live here. You still continue to use the things that are here, right? If you truly hated it, you would either work like hell to change the course of it, or you would move. You would go somewhere else. Now, good luck trying to find a place that wasn't built on oppression or slavery or child labor or any of this stuff. It's all horrible, right? All of it. But good luck trying to find one. And I'm not saying that there are none out there, but I mean, like I said, you will be looking for quite some time, right? So, but you say all these things, but you don't put the pedal to the metal, right? You don't actually truly believe it, because then as soon as you're faced with a decision to do something about it, well, then that's where the hypocrisy starts to come up, right? So
you'll do f***ing nothing. Not one of you'll do nothing. Get the f*** out of here.
I just thought that was hilarious, but at the exact same time, I really think that, like, as someone who is as influential as him, you have to be weary of how you operate. You got to be weary of what you say. You have to be aware of it, especially if you want to run for president, right? You got to run for... That was one of the good things about Obama, right? Other than the fact that he was just thrown at us as, hey, take this black guy, even though, you know, he's still a politician at the end of the day, and he's making all these promises that he's going to do all these things or whatever. But Obama could talk. And a reason that people didn't like Trump as much, right, at least compared to Obama, is because he would just say whatever he wanted to say. A reporter clapped at him, he clapped right back, right? So
look, between you people, don't talk to me that way. You're just a lightweight. Don't talk to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way.
You got to be able to talk to people. Now, I'm not a fan of the traditional politician who's going to sit up there and lie to my face and tell me everything I want to hear, but do it in a way that's presidential, right? But you got to be able to toe that line, right? Where you're okay with being edgy because you want to be real and authentic, but you also have to relate to people who just might not see the world that you see it, or who might not be willing to do the critical thinking and understanding to see where you're coming from, right? Our attention spans have been shot in this time and day. So people see clips, they run off of it. They see headlines and they run off of it. People don't read articles anymore as much. People hardly watch full scale videos or movies or anything like that. Like, it's a different world, right? So saying this, right, is just so wild, right? Like, I saw it and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't even know what to say, right? Like, it's just another thing that was said, right? Like I said, I feel like I get it. I see both sides of it. But yeah, I mean, Mr. West, ladies and gentlemen.